Hello, YouTube viewers, members. This is Mayor X. Okay, so we're at the hood number 4, violence. This morning, it's Sunday, easy like Sunday morning, only it's not so easy for a lot of people because there was another shooting just up on 100th and King George. And somebody died, another person was injured, more than likely this time gang related. So anyway, I decided to bring it back to the core. I
can't hear you.
Well, come closer. There we go. Wait until I get mad and I start moving around. That's when you move back, because I'll be hollering by that time, right? Okay, so anyway, this time I decided to write down a few things because it's hard thinking on the fly. So we're going to start with nothing. That's what we're going to talk about right here. This is nothing. This is what we're going to start with. We're going to start with nothing. And we're going to make our own rules, okay? Because at the end of the day, something has to change, okay? Every week, you can't keep distracting me.
Sun, man. Want me? It's the sun.
Okay, so now I'm in the sun.
Well, sun was the glare. I couldn't see your face.
Okay, so we're amateur video artists here, so we're doing the best that we can. So the reason I brought it out here is because I've had a couple of people approach me on the idea of starting a recovery house through my foundation. So this is what I kind of want to talk about in light of the level of violence that is increasing in our community, because there's not much of a pressure relief valve in terms of where a lot of people can go that are high risk, and nobody is immune to the level of violence that's in our community right now. Rich, poor, everybody seems to be affected. So my nonprofit kind of represents the bottom, starting from the bottom and kind of working our way up. So this is ground zero for me. Bring it back to the core. If we're going to talk about violence, then we need to talk about the people that are at most risk to experience violence. But that's not to say that people that are a little higher up on the totem pole or on the social order of all things in life, they're not subject to violence. So so as a politician would say, like a politician would say, local autonomy within the community. So if I was to start a nonprofit recovery house, I would like to think that within that house there's local autonomy to each other in that house, because what we want to do is we want to bring in a system that can take some of the stress away from this environment, that people are still out and about and doing, a lot of these people out here are being stabbed and shot. Okay, it's not just these people. It's the people, higher up in the rung that are also being shot and killed. So, in other words, like the shooting that happened local this autonomy morning within the community. So, if we bring in a recovery house through the foundation, there has to be local autonomy within the group of individuals that are in this house participating. We have to build in long-term solutions, which means security for the individuals that are participating within the program. We need to fill in the social and economical gap through these recovery houses, where the level of violence begins to drop for the individuals most at risk, which would be the poorest of the poor, and the level of violence would drop for the people that are higher up in the rung within certain aspects of our society, which is just a fact of life. Their risk to injury and harm can drop. So we got to bring in the balance. Reintroduce the concept of quality living versus quantity. So we're not trying to create 10,000 recovery houses compared to 1,000, versus we want the quality in the recovery house compared to the quantity. So if I get involved with my foundation in the sense of a recovery house, we're going for the quality of it before the quantity. So obviously I'm looking for individuals that are sincere in whether either benefiting from it personally and building on their positive skills and marketable skills, where they can pull themselves up by their bootstraps with the assistance of their community and move on and be productive, right? Or and because it's an autonomy, the government within a government, you've got the foundation, and then you've got the recovery house, which has its own rules, answers obviously to the foundation. But at the end of the day, the people, autonomy to me is like responsibility. People have to take responsibility for their own lives. Sometimes they just need a chance. So, but with that recovery house comes immunity. Okay, I did a little research on the internet, so I will probably add in some more here. So what it does is it brings in immunity to the people that are suffering in these circumstances. They are naturally starting to be protected. It's almost like that game Survivor. You know, you find the little totem pole and you get some immunity. Well, here, you know, people, if we build onto the Recovery House Fire through the Foundation, they're building an immunity to break themselves away from being subject to the violence that's in our community that's out of control. Because it only really takes one or two bad apples to spoil the whole barrel, okay? And I think that's what we're dealing with here. I think we've got a whole barrel of apples, and you know, the majority of them are good, but we've got one or two or three maybe in there that just doesn't want change, okay? Or wants to perpetrate the level of violence so that they can run and feel empowered because they're putting fear into the community. Well, the community needs to take back that fear, and they need to take it and build it into something more constructive, okay? So if you have immunity through autonomy, then you can build an initiative, and that's why I'm here, okay? Because it's all about initiative, program, projects, initiative, pet project.
Bettering yourself.
Pardon me?
Bettering yourself.
Bettering yourself. That's right. So through autonomy, you get immunity, and which opens up initiative to build in programs to self-empower and to better yourself, and then you get institutional powers. Okay, so that's where the quality will just naturally go into quantity.
Good.
Okay, so we're not going to go for the quantity. What we're going to do is we're going to build in the quality, and through immunity, we get to hands on the initiatives, and through the initiatives, we get to bring in institutional power through the foundation that can take it to other communities, because we're all kind of thinking on the same page, whether we're the poorest of the poor, or whether we're the richest of the rich. Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is fill in the gap so that people can walk safely in their communities and not feel threatened because one has more or one has less. Okay, it's the fact that our tree is full of fruit, and with that fruit we can build positive things in the community. So as Mayor X, I'm reporting on another shooting, October 23rd. It was Saturday at 9 o'clock. Okay, I heard it through the grapevine, and it was just up at McDonald's, 9 o'clock in the evening, through a drive-through. So that children just Safeway is open, everybody's still shopping, Saturday night everybody's out and about. So again, it's that those few bad apples in the barrel that need to stop and think. If you're watching this video,
Young ones and whatnot.
okay, well, I don't know what that means.
Young ones and
yeah,
whatnot.
little kids running around. I mean, that's
pretty bold
the
thing to
9
do,
o'clock at
right?
night. It could be me coming in from swimming with the kids looking for an ice cream cone, in my car with the car right in front. Like this is so. So what has to happen is the people in the community, these people need a chance. So that's why I'm here in ground one. I'm ground zero. Okay, they need a chance. So I don't know how I'm going to put together a recovery house. It has to be through the foundation. I mean, obviously, I'm going to have to take a landlord that's willing to take some risks. Life is risks, but without risks, the idea of progressing forward is a null and void for rich or poor. Okay, so oh yes, and that information in terms of immunity, initiative, and then it creates institutional power. That information came from the Chicago University. So there's a lot of people out there that are obviously well educated and have had a lot of time to think about these things. So in light of the foundation and the universal trademark of New Nations Unity, I think if enough of us started thinking in terms of building in local autonomy in recovery houses and self-empowering the people to start bringing in their own initiatives so that they can have institutional powers to progress forward, I think that's a very viable way to bring down the level of violence in our community. Outside of that, I support clubs. I mean, I'm out with my club clothes today, as you can see. Okay, so it's easy like Sunday morning, only it's not so easy anymore these days. And I think we need to get back to the old school, and I think we need to bring in some old funk and you know, some of that good stuff, and start bringing in some people power in a different way where we can actually make an impact in our communities. Today in this day and age, up in our area, there's really no place for young people to go. You know, this is something that I've noticed that I've seen happen in Surrey for the last maybe 8 years. You know, very few clubs, no dance clubs. You know, girls can't dress up, guys can't dress up. You know, I mean, that's a part of life. The politicians and the people with the money can dress up. You know, they can put on their fancy clothes and have their $500, $2,000 dinners. But us regular everyday people that just maybe want to get out and go dance for a couple of hours, you know, blow off a little bit of steam in a productive way, we have no place to go. You know, we have no place to go. And I think we need to bring that back, because I think that's part of the solution too. Okay, we need to take the energy that's out there with the young people and direct it into a positive direction. And from that point forward, we need to build in the recovery programs or the social safety nets in terms of affordable housing and you know, and having access to food so that people aren't food insecure, and alleviate some of this violence that's out on these streets that nobody seems to want to address when it comes to a politician, because you know, they're hard issues to talk about. But at the end of the day, so Mayor X, okay, we're going to talk about local autonomy, bringing in more recovery houses under the idea of quality versus quantity, for the purpose of immunity, to start protecting the individuals that need it most, and also build in protections for the people up there at risk that are higher up in the status and the economical status, so that, you know, they don't have to feel like they got to put on a vest to be able to walk out. Everybody should have a right to walk out in this community and not feel threatened. Okay? Adults make choices. You know, I talk to you like, you know, well, you know, adults, yes, adults make choices, and at the end of the day, we can make the choice to turn this around. So peace out.